So this is an overview of my Google Classroom Civic Duty. It's kind of cool because I took the math lesson Civic Duty off of mathalicious.com, and basically I just used a Google Classroom that was solely directed at completing that lesson because it's a good one and I like it. So I just want to and this is just as much for me as it is anybody else who cares to look at it. I want to remember this for next year. So I'm just going to go down through it and talk about a few of the pieces, and then I may go into more deep detail on them on my other pages with other videos, but I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out yet. First of all, as you can see, I've got myself at the top. I've got my administrator, Miss Downs, and I've got another teacher, Miss McAllister, who's checking in and just kind of checking out. I've also got Miss York. She's hiding around here. She's actually one of my students. I think she's one of my students. Slow internet connection. Anyway, let's just stay in the stream. This first one was just a quick video. One of the things that, even though we went through this and we talked a lot about hybrid engines, and we talked about the most common kind of hybrid engine being a gasoline electric engine mix, right? There were a lot of students who, at the end of the day, were pretty convinced that you still had to plug these in, and I tried to talk them out of it. So this would be a cool place, I think, for maybe a science team. I know that science deals with different types of energy as a 7th grade standard. Maybe a science person could give me a suggestion on how to incorporate whatever science standards they have to maybe reinforce this hybrid engine idea. As we go down, this is adding and subtracting rational numbers. This is actually a link to Khan Academy. I use Khan Academy daily in my classes. I give the students the first 15 minutes of class to practice a skill that I feel is going to be valuable. And in this case, adding and subtracting rational numbers, that's a huge 7th grade standard. And it also plays into civic duty itself. There's lots of opportunities to add and subtract rational numbers, and I'm hoping that we can take some basic calculation practice and use it, and hopefully it'll cross over into our big ideas. This is a drag race one of my students brought to us. He liked the drag race I got for him. This is me trying to organize this into a professional development piece in the future. I've talked to Ms. Downs about maybe sharing some stuff on Google Classrooms that I've done. Yeah, this is awesome. If you guys are into Adam Sandler, check it out. Let's see. Alright, so this is where we kind of get started. This was one of the first pieces I presented to the class. It's a drag race. It's pretty stinking awesome. The sound that these two guys make with their cars is I don't know, it gets your attention, especially if you have your volume up a little bit. But on the left, we have ourselves a hybrid. On the right, just a normal internal combustion engine. And in a few seconds, they're going to take off. And, then this hybrid is just going to leave this guy behind, which is pretty cool. And one of the reasons why I show this, of course, I'm showing this to 12-year-olds. Who probably just got done watching Fast and Furious 5. At least I hope so, right? But the main idea here is we've got a hybrid. It beats a lot of the stereotypes. When I think of a hybrid, I think of my dad's Prius, right? So, I don't know. Just kind of a fun thing to get started. And it leads into the next little assignment. This was all in one day. And once again, and I know I've got a misspelling on here. If you look, what kind of care are you? It was supposed to be car, so I don't know if I want to go into the YouTube video and try and edit it out. Maybe I will later. But this was just this is what I would call a non-risk piece. No risk. You don't have to be worried about doing calculations. You don't have to be anxious about doing math. All I want you to do is follow some simple directions in which you're trying to find a car that mirrors your personality. What kind of car would you drive? Doesn't have to be a hybrid. Doesn't have to be anything. Maybe that's one of them. Maybe in the future, maybe one of those. Maybe we should have a car be a hybrid, and then whatever. So I kind of give them an example of what a hybrid is not. This is a Tesla, right? Maybe this is what I think I am. This is a pretty cool car. I think Tesla's cool. I think it's a cool company. It's all electric, and we talked a little bit about how that's different from a hybrid, and then we put some answers in comments. This was kind of like I say, an engagement piece. No risk. You don't have to know any math or do any math. So at this point, I turn them loose. I say, go find your car, save it as an image, and turn it into Google Classroom. All my students know how to do this. They're pretty tech savvy. So let's go back. And then I get a bunch of them, turning them in. And then I think I put a question out there as what's the difference. And I also created a video that I think, yeah, it's funny how you don't like the sound of your own voice, but there it is. This is a video that explains it. So what I have here, ladies and gentlemen, if you believe it, is an activity that students can come in and they can work completely independently. They don't need me to do anything more. I've got a video that explains it. I've got the PowerPoints and they got the directions. This was a quick attempt at data, just really to figure out who had done it. And as you can see, no one had actually completed it all the way out of my homeroom and Timberlake. So I've got all these students who started it or did it or whatever, but they didn't really give me what I wanted. They didn't follow the directions. So I knew I had to beef up operations. I had to get a little bit better with my work. So these were corrections. We'll come back to that in a second. But here's the first assignment. This is the first half of Civic Duty Act 1, in which they go through some ideas, some concepts, what have you. I've got a 6-minute video that explains all the directions. Here are the slides. I'm not going to go through them all the way, but as you can see, these are student notes. The idea is for them to come up here and to make a copy, right? Make a copy of these for themselves so that they can go down through here and start answering these questions, right? You guys like my tattoo? It's actually my sister's tattoo. I told that joke in class. I got nothing. It was a dark day. Anyway, let's see. So that was Act 1. We'll go more into that later. Here's Act 2. Same thing. I had to steal some resources from Mathlicious because their lessons are more for brick and mortar projector kinds of activities, like whole class activities. So I had to finagle a few things. And then, like I say, this was a daily practice sort of thing. We're just there was this one and a few others that coincided with this, but I actually use my other Google Classroom to handle Khan Academy on a daily basis more than this one. Excuse me. So that's really all I have for the overview of this video. We're going to leave it at that, and I'll create a couple more probably for the Khan Academy stuff and more intense look at the assignments inside of Google Classrooms.